Well, it's time for Weather Watchers Worldwide. I'm meteorologist Robert Speta. There's our chief meteorologist,
Good
Louis
morning.
Turner.
Or good afternoon.
Afternoon.
You'll see this some places right now in the morning when we tape, but then again 3 o'clock this afternoon. So we'll cover both bases.
Well, it's worldwide.
Worldwide.
So it
it's
could be
all
the middle of
times.
the night. You know, it's streaming, so you can watch us anywhere.
What is to put you on the spot? What's the biggest weather story in the world right now?
the biggest weather story in the world right
global.
now?
Yeah.
I did notice this. So yesterday, a record high temperature was recorded at Palmer Station, Antarctica. Record high.
Record high in Antarctica, which was
55 degrees.
no kidding.
But
Come on out and get a suntan.
But at the same time, so that was caused by this area of low pressure to kind of dip down. At the same time, guess what the wind chill was at South Pole?
55 wind chill.
Oh, well, the South Pole was getting the cold air.
South Pole was getting the cold.
They were getting the cold side of it.
So I'm going to say negative 55.
89.
89.
Negative. It was like minus 55 degrees was the temperature with a 15 knots of wind.
Oof.
So minus 89 degree wind chill.
It's a big swing.
It's a little swing,
That's the Earth.
And they're in their summer.
I was watching a forecaster, and this is less global and more United States. I was watching a forecaster in it was out west somewhere in the desert climate, forecasting a high, and I don't think I was dreaming, forecasting a high of 102
Today?
for today somewhere in the United States. Is that accurate?
Boy.
Maybe they just like put the graphic in wrong.
But yeah,
It popped up
like
in my reels. You know what I mean? And I'm like, nah, these are current conditions.
Yeah.
El Paso, it was in El Paso. It was where it's only 72. They've got 40 degrees to go.
I mean, desert, dry air, it could swing pretty fast.
Yeah, I guess so. But we'll see. We'll see if they hit the triple digits.
I mean, get to it.
Let me just get a Google going. That's
Well, while you're doing that, I want to remind people what we got coming up today. We got a dramatic rescue video out of Colorado. And, just the Rockies in general. If you're talking about national, some of the big weather stories, I think one is the dry air in the southeast. We've had that big wildfire out in the Everglades. But the other one has been just these series of avalanches due to all the heavy snow across the Rockies. And also a little post-mortem analysis. But nonetheless, Hurricane Melissa got a big upgrade.
Yeah.
Talk about that here in just a few minutes, too.
The dramatic rescue stuff you have is stuff of nightmares. It's one of my great fears, like the avalanche, as we zip on out. And we're out in the Rockies. And so what kind of tell me the story. I mean, obviously somebody got trapped and survived.
It's out of Olympic Valley, Colorado. And a skier, it wasn't an avalanche, but I've skied in these type of conditions. It was like they got like 5 feet of fluffy, deep snow that wasn't groomed. So if you get off and you're not wearing those big fat skis, you can just like
sink.
Yeah, vanish. And Peyton Headley out of Colorado has a report for us here. So I'm going to toss it at her and just kind of show you what's happening here.
These were the conditions at Palisades Tahoe on February 18th.
It's what every skier dreams of.
After a 7-hour drive from Sacramento, Carson Schmidt and his friend finally made it to the mountain for their first run of the day.
That's deep.
Then something stopped them in their tracks.
Hey, they good?
A skier buried in the snow.
I see ski tips, and next thing you know, you just kind of go into go mode and just dig him out till you can find his face. He was in total shock. Like, all he wanted to find was his wife.
You okay? You okay? Oh, you okay? Hold on for a second.
He said the man was blue when they got him out and didn't know how long he'd been buried, but was able to ski away to find his wife.
Deep snow, it's the great equalizer.
Schmidt said that terrain is pretty advanced and the deep snow only emphasized that. He's hoping this reminds everyone to be safe on the slopes.
Everybody needs to be aware when you go out in that deep of snow. You need to ski with a partner. You need to be trained. You need to have be shovel probe. You need to have all the right stuff.
Terrifying.
Thoughts?
Well, my first thought is being head first down in the snow. I mean, your orientation gone. Like what's up, what's down after a few minutes when you're kind of buried like that with nothing. That's terrifying. And how fortunate to have people that were skiing by, because Lord knows how long the oxygen would have lasted before you're getting CO2. Yeah, that is terrifying. I mean, he's okay.
And it shows like the dangers of like off-piste skiing.
Yeah.
It can be like tree wells are a big one. For people from Florida, tree wells basically when the wind blows and the mountains, it can create like just this this big hole around trees. This scenario wasn't an avalanche, unlike the big disasters we've seen in California here over the past week.
Yeah.
But this was just like 4 or 5 feet of just fluffy snow. And if it's not groomed and you fall down and you don't have a buddy with you.
He did have a buddy.
His buddy ditched him, his wife.
His wife kept on skiing.
Just kind of, he ended up found it. He did, once he unburied himself, the first thing he did ask is like, where's my wife?
Where's my wife? She's not buried, is she? Oh my God. Yeah. Wild stuff and things you may not think about here in Florida. If you're going, hey, we're going to take a family trip, go do a little skiing, just it's best to stick to the groomed routes and unless you're just a super pro, leave that to them.
And you have to have the right equipment too.
Oh, sure.
Like if you're a super pro and you got those skinny skis,
you're going to go in. Oh my God. Coming back to Florida. So looking like we've zoomed over. Are we okay? I was thinking we're going down south.
Let's go down south.
Talk about some wildfire smoke on Alligator Alley.
Yeah, and I was looking at the visible satellite imagery this morning, and this fire might have tapered off a little bit because yesterday this was super visible on visible satellite imagery.
Yeah, hopefully they're knocking it down, kind of to a smolder at this point, and that smoke is low enough and not quite hot enough to be picked up on either visible or infrared. But yeah, so Alligator Alley, this is a stretch of 75. I mean, you're way south Florida. It's that stretch that connects essentially Naples over to Fort Lauderdale, and this is all kind of in preserved land, but it was at some points in the last 48 hours kind of threatening that stretch of Alligator Alley. You saw flames actually up against the interstate, and we've been watching the traffic cameras, and those have gotten better as well. But this is less about, imminent concern for here in Northeast Florida, but more about a reminder that we are truly in a wildfire season, and this could pop up very easily for us. Hopefully, though, fire conditions are getting a little bit better, at least with rising relative humidities, wind speeds kind of tapering a bit, and then some rain. Yeah,
Malcolm, actually, if you don't mind throwing out the video that we have here, just showing from yesterday what it did look like while we're talking about it here. And this is, of course, from the air. And we showed this in yesterday's video here, but this is where we're at its peak. 25,000 acres burnt out here across the Everglades. Thankfully, at its peak, and as Lou just mentioned, it's threatening some of the roadways, but no evacuations have been ordered. But, I mean, a big impact, I'm sure, on the wildlife for this area. And it does all go back to the significant drought we are in at this time. And then you had those windy conditions. And then, tomorrow, when we get these storms starting to pop into this area, we could get some lightning strikes on top of the drought, which could spark some fires, too.
That's a good point. Yeah, hoping for more rain, less pop, and maybe get some soak into our topsoil and some of these fuels. What the issue with how dry it is there's this term called duff, which is the name for the ground fuel. So think about, drying out leaves that have fallen off trees in these forests, pine straw, grass and weeds that die. You're going to, get layers to this. So we'll have, you could have 18 inches, 2 feet of this duff that's kind of built up and packed itself in. So you get an inch of rain, it looks good on the surface, but you still got deep level dry fuels. So you get a lightning strike, or you get a careless cigarette toss out of the car, or you get some sort of ignition, and a lot of times these smoldering wildfires, brush fires, are burning a foot or two deep. So
and that's hard
it's hard to fight.
Yeah.
So it's while this rain will be beneficial and every little bit's going to help us as we get closer to the weekend, we're going to need months of it here.
Well, let's go back to our graphic here, and let's take a look at the current drought conditions across the state of Florida. I mean, it's extreme, really, for all of the Northeast, down towards the South, obviously, where we have this fire in place. So what we need is some rain. That's our deficit, by the way.
Yeah, since September 1st. And the reason we're going back to September 1st is we're going back to all the months that we've run a deficit. So September, we were in a deficit, October, November, and so on. In fact, the month of November, we didn't get any rain at all. It was a completely rain-free month. And that was
a record, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and then considering November is the dry season, right? So the amount of rain we get typically at 2 inches of rain in the month of November. But I mean, that's still 2 inches we didn't get, and we got 0. And so we ran that deficit. February is ultimately, I mean, we've only got a couple of days left, and we're some 3 inches behind for the month. So unless something happens and this front really stalls and we get some sort of major training event directly over the international airport where we're keeping records, and we get 3 or 4 inches, we're going to have a deficit for February. So now you gotta think catching up and what would actually get us out of this extreme drought, and it's going to take months. It's going to take March, April, May, and then even tropical season where we get some more pop and some more moisture. But you saw the fire danger there. It does go down a bit because of increasing relative humidity. Not quite as bone dry air, but it's still that elevated category beyond Sunday. So next week, while not that critical or near critical level, this isn't us saying go out and start burning again. Just continue to maintain all the safety we've been doing already.
And this will at least provide, like you said, some relief, but just going back to what you just said, it's going to be kind of that top coating of rain. We're not expecting a washout either. This is not a tropical storm or anything. Yeah. But, we could get this kind of just light to moderate precip. And not just for Northeast Florida, even down towards the South where that fire is ongoing at this time too, before that high pressure sets in right behind it, and then it dries out but warms up at least through that extended forecast.
It does. One of the things I'm watching, kind of looking at our high res, and so Southeast Georgia looks to be some of the area that may see the most rain with this event, and that's a good thing because we've got fires burning in Charleston County near the swamp. And so this would be beneficial. So we're watching, and we've got a weather impact alert, and we've highlighted the hours of noon Friday to noon Saturday. So a 24-hour period starting Friday afternoon, because most of the impacts will be felt with the heavier rainfall beginning around lunchtime. I saw Uranus, and then heading into
what is happening?
It is actually interesting. We'll be able to see, if you had a telescope. As we get to Saturday morning, it becomes less about the heavy downpours like we'll see Friday, and even isolated thunderstorms, and more about the drizzly kind of nuisance rain. So for World of Nations or Scottish games or anything you got going on, just don't cancel plans. Wouldn't do it. It's not that kind of heavy rain. More about just taking a little poncho or one of the small umbrellas you can pack in a purse or a bag.
And this is that forecast for World of Nations there. Moved to Fort on Bay this year for those in Jacksonville, downtown, basically next to the Hyatt, right on the beach, or not beach, the river, excuse me.
Can't miss it. I've been driving by it. If you're coming downtown, you'll run right into it. Big area, and they've already got a lot of tents and stuff set up. Always
good food.
I saw the turkey tent.
Ooh.
And I was like, I wonder if that's Turkish food or if they have
just a bunch of turkey.
Obviously, it's Turkish food. The conundrum of walking into Turkey.
What's your go-to? Like if you're like, okay, I got to hit up this country.
So it's usually Caribbean. I like to make a Caribbean stop, get a little jerk chicken.
Oh,
so
all right.
Maybe kind of like there's usually a Curacao, or there's usually a Jamaica type area. And then I like to hit up like Vietnamese. So go visit Vietnam, get a little, spicy.
All right. Yeah, I was gonna say a little spicy,
I like,
spicy noodles.
Yeah,
or
some noodles. Anything spicy with noodle, mix in whatever protein you want. But that's kind of my
getting ready for it.
Kind of my go-to.
That sounds delicious.
Love it.
Sunday is your day, by the way, to get out there. Saturday, not going to be the end of the world. Saturday might be better in the sense if you want to get to as many booths as possible without a line.
Yeah.
Theme park rules. Like I love going to Disney when it's pouring rain.
Absolutely.
Like no one's there.
No one's there.
It's great.
Everybody's out.
Pouring rain in January.
Yep. People are catching on to that though. It's crazy. But certainly Saturday, don't cancel plans. But if you had to pick, okay, we're going to go one day or the other, Sunday's probably your better day. And Scottish Highland Games, ladies and gentlemen, let's go watch them throw big kegs over tall poles. And then they've got those big giant log. I mean, they're like essentially
like a stone toss.
And then there's a stone toss.
Rocks.
Absolutely. Some great games, bagpipes. This will be out at the Clay County Fairgrounds Saturday.
Solid culture right there.
It is going to be fun. It's a great event, an annual wonderful event.
Well, taking a look at that extended outlook, so through Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we at least do start to get kind of in this warmer pattern. Yeah. Really just staying back into the 60s, the 70s, not quite these record breakers like we saw last week, but this is what we call like a zonal pattern. It's very steady, no big waves in that extended outlook, which is, at least some nicer weather to start off the month of March.
Agreed. And with that rain chance we see, those 10-20s, this with onshore flow, that high pressure setting up, we're talking about just the small chance of rain, but really like coastal zones east of 95.
So if you're like Lake City, I-75, you're
going to be generally you're going to be okay.
All right, so let's talk a little tropics here. Talking tropics.
Yes.
We're not in hurricane season, okay? We still have 96 days to go.
Woo!
Yeah, right?
We'll be here before we know it, man.
Counting it. Yeah, right. It'll sneak up.
It will.
And sometimes we get storms in May.
Yes. And in fact, it's mid-May, even before the season starts, that the Hurricane Center is starting to put out their discussions. And so we'll be ready, and hopefully you will be too. But there's some news of this past hurricane season.
Yeah, Melissa. So the February 25th, so yesterday, the National Hurricane Center released their post-analysis on Hurricane Melissa.
Yeah.
And they upgraded it based on satellite and also in-depth analysis from NOAA. Because NOAA is hurricane hunters, not the C-130s, but the ones that fly like around over top of the storm.
They have up high, the G5.
Yeah, they have a radar on board. Yeah. That radar is so vital. And so the NHC went through kind of post-mortem here and analyzed that radar data, and they said, okay, this had 190 mile per hour winds in it.
That's massive. Strongest ever. I mean, tying for the strongest ever in the Atlantic. Now, you're going to have to educate me on Alan.
1980.
Was it a
big hurricane?
Was it landfalling?
I'm not quite sure.
Because I think 190 might be
for my time.
Right. I think 190 might be. I'm gonna have to study up on Alan. In fact, I can do that right now.
Because
Melissa might be the strongest landfall.
I know Melissa is the strongest. Even before this, when it was still 180, Melissa was rated the strongest landfalling hurricane on record at landfall. Also, Melissa holds the record for the highest wind gust via a dropsonde of 252 miles per hour recorded. That was a gust, not sustained. And the third lowest pressure, tying with a very famous Florida hurricane. Can you take a guess? It was down to 892 millibars. A very famous, not recent.
This would have been the Labor Day.
That's it. 1935 Labor Day hurricane.
Yeah.
So this thing just
Alan
absolutely
was a bad storm, and now it's one of those. I haven't, for some, I guess maybe because before we were born, but it impacted Texas, but it doesn't look like it hit that 190 while still kind of between the Caribbean and the Gulf, making that pass.
Oh, making that transition over.
Then, but Impacted Barbados.
Was it early storm? Alan A.
Yeah, this was in I'll get it August. Yeah, but that was it's similar to like Andrew. All right, so you remember Andrew, the A storm formed a little bit what we would technically consider a little bit later, because you're through June, July, and you get to August for Andrew to see the A storm. We're getting A's, B's, C's early in the season that are just out, So this is and 80 and in 92 with Andrew, just to think forecasting, these were El Nino seasons, right? Or transitioning to an El Nino, kind of like what we're seeing now.
That's true.
So we're getting strong hurricanes still possible, but maybe the quantity is a little lower.
But it always takes one, right?
It only takes one. I mean, right, because you're getting an Andrew and an El Nino transition.
Well, Melissa was potent, over 140 deaths, 141, I think, officially, from this storm system. Right after it took place, now this was back on November 5th. This took place in October, the storm. On November 5th, I interviewed Josh Morgan. So he just returned from going through the middle of the storm, a very famous storm chaser. And he told me about like what it was like to go through Hurricane Melissa. So I'm going to leave you with this as kind of the words from somebody who actually went through this storm and what his recollection of was right after it impacted where he was, where it made landfall as that Cat 5 with now 190 mile per hour wind. So thank you very much for joining here, Lou.
Thank you, Robert. Enjoy it.
And we'll just go to this video here.
You couldn't see anything. The inside of the core of this hurricane was just a solid whiteout. It was just white. It was pure energy with like wreckage flying by. And there was a screaming sound that was so loud. I was with a couple of people, including a couple of women who were holding their ears.
Hurricane Melissa made landfall as one of the strongest storms to ever come ashore in the Atlantic. It had sustained winds at 185 miles per hour, a high-end Category 5 storm. And in the middle of this was videographer Josh Morgan. He's been in some of the strongest storms on Earth. And Melissa, he said, ranks as one of the strongest. I had the privilege to talk with him about what it was like inside of this Category 5 storm and the ongoing recovery efforts in Jamaica. So I'm here with extreme storm chaser Josh Morgan. Josh, so much for taking time to talk with me here about Melissa and the impacts out there from this storm system. Josh, you've been through over 80 plus eye walls. And this Category 5, how does this rank against all the other storms you've been through here?
It's a good question. I'm still sort of like reflecting on it, sort of digesting it. There's some kind of like, there's some digesting after an experience like this, but it very well might have been number one out of the 83 hurricanes I've been in terms of just the unbelievable ferocity of this thing. Definitely for sure, top three, possibly number one. It was off the charts. This is as strong as hurricanes get.
That is absolutely incredible. And I guess to follow up on that, so you were communicating, you're very good at putting out information in real time during and ahead of these storms. People all over the world watch you. And I know that on October 28th at 10:25, you put out a tweet, and this is just a little clip of it. Frightening power, whiteout, roofs tearing off, gusts like bombs. And then after you put out this tweet, you went communication dark for about 36 hours. And that was right when the storm was making landfall. Can you talk me through what happened during those 36 hours?
Yeah, I think that tweet, I think I must have sent that just around when we were entering the eye wall. We started to get real wind damage. The building across the street, the roof ripped off, and then the second story, which was made of concrete, collapsed. That's how strong the winds were already. And it actually got worse from there. The palm trees were bending almost to the ground. It was just wild looking. And then everything just turned white. You couldn't see anything. The inside of the core of this hurricane was just a solid whiteout. It was just white. It was pure energy with like wreckage flying by. And there was a screaming sound that was so loud. I was with a couple of people, including a couple of women who were holding their ears. That's how loud the scream of the wind was. We were in the kitchen of the hotel. We finally had to bolt the door shut. And when you peeked through the cracks in the shutters, all you could see was whiteness. And I remember thinking to myself, this town's getting absolutely blasted. And when the hurricane started to move away, my fears were well founded. The destruction was just off the charts. Hard to even capture it in words.
But I mean, as far as just saying it in words go, not too many people have been through Cat 5 storms, and I think that paints a very vivid description there, Josh. And you're talking about the aftermath here, impacts across Jamaica. I mean, you were there for days after the landfall. What do they need in Jamaica right now? What do you think is the best way for people back in the States to support them?
That's a great question. So the whole island was not hit the same. The eastern part where the capital Kingston is got off pretty easy. They basically had a tropical storm on that side. The violent inner core of the hurricane struck the west end of the island, which is a little more rural, has some resorts and stuff. That area was flattened. Wood buildings flattened. Concrete buildings depends how good the concrete was. Some of them collapsed, some of them stayed up. Of the ones that stayed up, almost every building lost its roof. The roads in the impact zone, it's just piles of rubble, and the rubble's made of buildings, houses, power poles, trees. It's just a big mess. So some of the first steps are they're trying to plow paths through the wreckage because that's number one. You need to do that to get the relief in there. And then they're trying to get food and medical aid in. I have to say, I was impressed. I think that the Jamaicans have done a very good job with the initial steps. The city of Black River was absolutely devastated. I mean, devastated. And when I was there a couple days after the hurricane, I sensed that things were, I don't want to say under control, but they had military and cops on every corner. They had aid trucks going through. Every resident had their arms full of supplies. They had medical, mobile clinic people on the ground. So I was like, okay, wow, this is a great first step. But any nation would need help after a hurricane like this. Even after Hurricane Katrina, a lot of Americans don't know we got international help, believe it or not, after Katrina. And a small country like Jamaica absolutely needs help in terms of resources and stuff. So folks should help out. And the best way to do that is to go to supportjamaica.gov.jm. Let me make sure I have that right. Yeah, supportjamaica.gov.jm. That's a good portal to get started to give help.
All right, we'll make sure we have a link to all of that on our website just to make sure people can get there and get to the best resources. Now, last question I got for you, Josh, here. I know you are busy. You're going after Melissa. You're about to go chase another typhoon here on the other side of the world. And that leads into the final question. And a lot of people are going to ask this. Why do you do what you do? I mean, you go inside these storms. What drives you to do this?
Sometimes I ask myself that question. Deep into this chase, I remember just thinking, God, I really hate this. Just the uncertainty and the stress, and you're in a country that you're not familiar with, and it's the middle of the night, and you're tired, and the hurricane's coming in, and you're trying to find somewhere to survive it, and it's scary and it's unpleasant. And I ask myself that, but just that fascination that hurricanes bring, they're so hypnotic to me that it's almost like a drug that I can't help but chase, despite how unpleasant it is sometimes. It is sort of an addiction, to be perfectly honest.
Wow. Well, Josh, thank you so much for talking with me. I truly appreciate it. I know you were busy, you're between storms, so thanks for taking the time to get that information out there to make sure, this recovery efforts from Melissa, I'm sure, are going to take a long, long time. So more information, the better. So thank you very much.
Thanks, Rob.